Hello, aloha. Hi everyone. Hello. Welcome to today's live stream. This live stream is part of my art challenge, and this is week 2 of Aloha 25 March. I thought we can do something that is spring related because even though we don't really have seasons here in Hawaii, I know that a lot of you do. And for me personally, one of even though we don't really have seasons here in Hawaii. That's weird. I can hear an echo. Hold on. That's strange. For me personally, one of hold on. Sorry. I'm gonna check what's going on. That's weird. I can hear an echo. Hold on. Why is that? Why is that happening? Let's see. Can you quickly tell me in the chat if you can hear that echo too? Or is it just me? All good? Okay. Sorry about that. I don't have any other devices on in the vicinity that, could lead to this kind of echo, so I'm not sure. Jamesy, do you have your phone on the YouTube?
Do I have it on?
Do you have your phone on the live stream right now?
No.
Okay. Well, I'm glad it's gone. Welcome again. I'm sorry if, that was painful to the ears. Okay, back to what I was saying. For me, all my life, one of the most important symbols for spring was always the cherry blossom. And I guess it's because I'm half Japanese, and this is something that in Japan is so important. It's such an important part of the year. And there's even a word for going to see the cherry blossoms. It's hanami. And literally, people pack their picnic bags and they venture out to just sit under the cherry blossom or cherry trees and look at the beautiful blossoms. So for today, I prepared a little cherry blossom wreath, and I love drawing birds, so I'm just gonna put a little tiny bird in there. And I see that, yeah, Lisa is just saying that they have those in Washington, D.C. as well. And the fun thing is we have them in Hawaii as well. It's not a Hawaiian tree at all, but in the 70s, Japan gifted Japanese cherry trees to a city here on the Big Island. And now every year they even have a festival, like a cherry blossom festival here in Hawaii. But interestingly enough, because of the climate here, it's not in April, which is usually the time where it happens in Japan. The cherry trees usually bloom around April, but in here it's in February. So the cherry blossom festival has actually already happened here on the island. Okay, as always, I have my setup here, and I also have set up my iPad so I can see the chat. Hello everyone, Debbie and Nina, Sylvie, Mom. Hi Tracy, Moni, Heather. Oh, wonderful. Julia. So, yeah, let me know if you have cherry trees in your area, and especially if people do something special. I don't know. I mean, do they have like a festival in Washington, D.C. as well? I know that the cherry blossoms are pretty famous in Washington, and I have seen photos. It's very impressive. There are whole streets lined with beautiful, beautiful, opulent cherry blossom trees. think in, isn't there a city in Germany as well that has a lot, isn't it Berlin even, with a lot of cherry trees? I'm trying to remember. Somebody else told me about that. Okay, my dears, we're gonna start with looking at a cherry blossom, like a single one, you know, how it's built and what are the distinctive features. I'm of course also gonna share what supplies I'm using today, and then we're gonna tackle the sketch. I'm gonna quickly explain how to do the sketch in pencil, and then we're gonna start painting. Okay. So let me look at the chat real quick. Sylvie says, I live near Neustadt, Weinstraße, and we had a famous almond tree festival there. Ooh. Do they have white flowers? I think they do, almond trees. And Lisa says there's a National Cherry Blossom Festival in DC. Oh, wow. Ooh, that would be really worthwhile, going to Washington, DC to see those blooms. And Sylvie says almond blossoms are white pinkish, similar to cherries. Nina says we have a lot of almond trees here in Spain. Weinstraße, Sylvie says, is like the Toscana of Germany, with very mild climate. Yeah, that's true. And Anka Mädchen says we haben hier in Hamburg auch ein Kirschblütenfest. Oh, really? In Hamburg? How fun. You know, it's so interesting. All my life, the cherry blossoms for me personally were a symbol for Japan. I guess I was a little biased, but I find out that it's just something that is all around the world because, of course, more than one climate allows for these beautiful trees to grow and people to admire them. Okay, let me talk about the supplies real quick. I am using a hot press watercolor paper today. It's 300 GSM or 140 pounds, and it is hot press, which means it's very soft and smooth. It doesn't have much tooth, which I prefer when I do smaller illustrations with more details. The brand is called Baohong, which is a Chinese brand. I can write this down real quick for you guys. So, Baohong, and it's a hot press, 140 pounds. And this paper is also cotton. However, for this type of illustration, you don't need cotton paper. I'd say if you have mixed fibers, cotton and wood pulp, this would work just as well. You can even do this on a mixed media paper. I do, however, recommend that you use paper that is not too textured because we're gonna do some finer details, and I feel that the hot press paper works really well for that. And then I have, this is my moleskin sketchbook here. Even though this is cold press, I find that the texture is not very rough. It's rather fine. And I just tried out some more loose cherry blossoms here. But this is a good example because the flowers are a bit bigger to explain how the cherry blossom, or what it looks like, what the distinctive features are. So here, and in this example, it's maybe a little more detailed as well. So the flower consists of 5 petals. And, oh, sorry, I forgot to talk about the rest of the supplies. I just talked about the paper, but we have a few more. Okay, so the paints are Aloha watercolors. I'm gonna focus mostly on this color, which is called Shell Ginger. It's a pastel pink. So basically just a pink mixed with titanium white. I have Orchid, which is a quinacridone magenta. And black, this is Shark, black ochre. And I'm also going to use Mango, which is a medium cadmium yellow. I am aware that the challenge actually asks for only using one color, the soft pink, plus one more. However, you're always free to use black and white. And for that reason, I'm going to use the black and also a white Jelly Roll pen for some highlights and details. And, you know, I would just cheat it a little bit. I wanted to sneak in some yellow because I think it's fun to have, you know, a little pop of color here for the little bird and then also for the details in the flowers. So I make the rules just to break them, I guess. I'm using a round brush, size 6 today. Please feel free to use a round brush that is smaller as well for the details. I like this one here by Shimoni Art because it is very pointy, so I can utilize it for bigger surfaces, bigger shapes, and also for smaller details. I have a colored pencil here as well. I'm not even sure if I'm going to use it, but you know, to paint the details in the flowers, if you don't want to do this with a brush, you can just use a pencil or even a brush pen, you know, for the stamens, for example. It's maybe a little easier. I have a ceramic palette here on the side just to mix some colors, and you can see that I mixed some purple shades just with the pink, the basic pink tones and the black, so we can utilize the purple shapes, purple tones for painting the branches and a few of the leaves. And last but not least, I have this circle maker by Helix. You can use anything that is round. So if you have a round bowl or something, that works just, you know, just fine. Okay, let me look over to the chat. Okay, there's something about the newsletter. Oh yes, I sent out the newsletter 2 days ago with the sketch that you can, you know, print out and use. And oh, by the way, I was asked by somebody how to best transfer sketches like this onto the watercolor paper. So of course you can do it freehand, but there's also another technique. When you have your sheet of paper, you can print out the sketch and place your sheet of paper on top and then sandwich this onto a bright window. So imagine this is my window here, the glass of the window. You can just put it on there and then you will see the lines of the sketch shine through, even thick paper. There's also a thing called a light board, which is basically a board that is illuminated, which you can use, but I mean, that's just an extra device to have. You can just utilize a window for that. And Nina's asking if you can use carbon paper. Yeah, of course, absolutely. So carbon paper works a little bit differently. You put the sketch on top, so very top, then you put the carbon paper, which is a black colored paper, in the middle on top of your watercolor paper. And then you trace your sketch with a blunt instrument or with a hard pencil. And then the carbon paper leaves a mark on your watercolor paper. Remember in the old times when you had to like sign for a credit card receipt, for example, you know, you were writing on the top sheet and then the carbon paper in the middle would transfer what was written in the bottom. And then you had like multiple copies. And yeah, lastly, what you can also do is turn your sketch over, cover it with graphite, so pencil basically, and then kind of like trace your sketch onto the watercolor paper. I find that pretty messy, but it does work. So my favorite way really is to use a window and to just sketch like this, sandwiched on the window. I hope this makes sense. If you are interested, you know, you can leave me a comment if you I should maybe do a video about this. Okay, so for the sketch, as you can see, we start with a circle, and then I always like to start with the largest flowers first. And in this case, because we have a bird, I want to, you know, put the bird in first. So because that is kind of like the main focus. And for the biggest flowers, I usually start by just adding large circles where I want my biggest flowers to be. And I don't want it to be too uniform, so I try to keep a little distance in between some of the flowers and to just kind of evenly distribute them around the circle, but also with a little space in between. You could, of course, do it in a very regular way, you know, that you put flowers just all around. But I think it's just a little more interesting if you keep a little more space in between some of them. And to change things up a little bit, I'm also going to add some half flowers viewed from the side, like this one here. And then it's always good to have fillers. So fillers would be little leaves, like this one here, these ones here, more flowers from the side, and some flower buds. And of course the bird. So let me just quickly demonstrate how to do the sketch. Let's just turn this over. Okay. I'm just gonna stick with this so you can see this better. You start with your circle, and this is a open circle, so I'm gonna not finish it on this side. And then down here, you're gonna put your bird in. So the bird is perched very closely to the branch, which means the oval for the body is almost touching your circle here. The head is another oval, like this. And then where these two circles meet is where the eye is going to be, and it's closed, so you're gonna just do something like this. And then you prolong the line from the eye, and that's where the beak is. Put in a wing and the tail. The tail is kind of like a triangle, like this. And then the little feet going to the branch. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. I think we're very, very zoomed out. Okay, as always, you can let me know if I should zoom in, zoom out, you know, the audio is okay. Explain something again, maybe. And then for the flowers, as I said, I'm gonna distribute them around. So I'm just gently drawing in some large circles. You don't have to do it if you don't want these circles to show up on your paper. Instead, what you can do is just do the center circle of the flower. So, you know, later on you're gonna just put the petals in like this, and this will be the center of the flower. Okay, let's put another one close to this one here, and then leave a little bit more distance. These are going to be my main open flowers, and then I'm adding some half open ones, not half open from the side, I mean, some flowers from the side here as well, in between here and down here. So this is the basic setup and construct. I don't think I need to draw in the leaves. But of course, if you want to plan out your whole wreath in detail, you can also add all the little bits and pieces that will be your fillers. And don't be afraid to leave some spaces where the branch shows through. No, I think it just adds to the design if there are some naked spaces in here as well. And then for the flower, you have a center, and then as a little help, you can draw in a star like this, and then you'll automatically have the 5 points or tips for your petals, and then you can just combine not combine, you can just utilize these points, reference points, to get your petals in. There are two things that make the cherry blossom petals distinctive. One is that there is a notch at the top. So once you have your petal, you can draw in this notch. And the other thing is that the petals don't sit that close together in the center. They're more, there's a little bit of a space, so they get skinnier towards the center. So a little notch in the end, and then it's kind of like this. Okay, let's do one more. So circle, center, the star, and then you go skinny here from the center, oval shape, and then the notch at the end. And I think, for example, plum trees have more rounded petals. So that's a good way to distinguish different fruit tree petals. And finally, you can draw in the stamens. And as I mentioned in the beginning, you can just use a colored pencil, or you can use the tip of your brush to get the stamen in. And for the side view of those flowers, I'm just really gonna do it very abstract, so I'm not too concerned about getting it, you know, as detailed as these ones. Basically, it's just this semicircle, and then I'm just gonna wildly draw in, paint in the petals. Not too worried about getting these from the side view too accurate. Okay, well, let's get started. I'm gonna just do the sketch here, and this time I'm gonna do it a bit more lightly. Let's see, I'm gonna use this pink one. Okay, we'll do the open circle. I'm gonna put in my bird here at the bottom. Oval shape. And the eye, the beak, the tail. I'm gonna place my painting here next to me so you can see that for reference. All right, so how are you guys doing right now? Is it like spring-like where you're at, or are you still sitting in the middle of winter? So I know that for a lot of places, the beginning of March can still be very cold. Yeah, it's weird. I've experienced that sometimes we have spring in like January over in Europe, and then in March and April it just freezes over again. So last year I was in Germany in April, and I remember when I arrived, it had just snowed and the snow was melting. And, you know, a week later it was super sunny and warm. So that was crazy. I felt like I went through 2 or 3 different seasons in just 2 weeks. Okay, so Sylvie, who is in Germany, says, snow here on Thursday. And in New Jersey, it's beautiful and warm today. And Barb says 55 Fahrenheit here today. That's very cold. That's like 10 degrees Celsius, I think. That's definitely not spring vibes yet. Okay, so for me, this very rough sketch is enough to get started. So let's head over to the watercolors. And I'm also going to dig out my ceramic palette here so we can mix a few colors. Let me see how I can rearrange it and still be in frame. Let me zoom out a little bit. I hope that works for you guys. It's always a little struggle to get things situated that everybody can see. Okay, I'm mixing a bit of my shell ginger pastel pink, very opaque pink here on my palette. And I think I do have to zoom in a lot now because otherwise it's going to be impossible for you guys to see. So okay. In order to paint my cherry blossom, I'm going to place 5 dots of pink around the center. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is very opaque paint, very intense. Then I'm going to rinse my brush. So I'm rinsing out all the paint that was in my brush. I'm going back to my dots, and then I'm using the paint dot here and dragging it out like this. And then towards the tip of the petal, I'm going to put that notch in. And then I'm going to go around and rinsing my brush in between to clean it again. Dragging the paint from the center towards the edge. And if you have made your illustration or your sketch in more detail, you can really focus on this technique without, having to worry where exactly your petal is situated. In my case, because I only drew the circle, I have to also keep an eye on the overall shape of my blossom. Rinsing my brush, coming over to this side here, putting the notch in at the tip. And of course, you can always move and push the pigments around as well. So if you see that maybe you have too much paint on your brush, you can even rinse it out while you're painting the single petal and then have a more watery mix. The more water you use, the lighter your petals will be. And while all this is still wet, I'm picking up some of my quinacridone magenta. And if you don't have this color, you can use any kind of pink, dark pink, or even red. And while everything's still wet, I'm dropping in some of my magenta here into the center of the petal. And then you don't have to do anything. You can just let the watercolor do its magic and spread around. Okay. So in the chat, you guys are saying 55 is good. It really depends where one is at, right? So 55 might be good for some in March, and for some it might just be cold. Always makes me laugh that, you know, whenever temperatures here in Hawaii drop below 65 Fahrenheit, which is like 18 degrees Celsius, that the Hawaiians are like, oh my gosh, I gotta go wear a sweater now. It's so cold. And I can see myself turning into one of these too. Which is funny considering that I grew up in a winter country like southern Germany. And now I'm just super sensitive as well. Okay, let's continue with our dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rinsing my brush, picking up the paint from the center and dragging it out towards my circle and continuing all around. This is a technique you can do with all flowers that have kind of light colors. So anything with pale pink, pale orange, pale yellow, actually it doesn't matter. You can use this for all sorts of flowers. Even for darker ones. Because you can always come back and drop in some more paint while the paper is still wet. You can generate some really beautiful blends. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you see that there's not enough pigment for you to use, just make the dots a little bigger. And if you think that you have too much or that your petals are getting too dark, you can rinse your brush some more even while you're painting the petal, or you can just make the dots smaller. If you want your piece to be a bit more loose, then of course, you know, you just go ahead and paint a little faster and don't pay too much attention to the details and to getting it all uniform. It's really a matter of taste. So see what I mean? You can just go ahead and very quickly draw in these petals. So here I did almost like a triangle shape with little notches towards the tips of the petals. Or of course you can do this with a very, very small and fine brush and really try to get that shape right. So my paints are still wet for all 3 blossoms. I'm adding some of the darker pink into the center. If your paint spreads too much, rinse your brush, dry it, and then push the pink pigment back into the center. And I'm also picking it up because my brush is pretty dry. So rinse it, dry it, and then you can pick up the dark pink pigment and push it back towards the center. So this is a technique you can use pretty much every time you have too much paint on your paper or it's running in a direction you don't want it to be. Rinse your brush, dry it, and gently guide your pigment back to where you want it to be. Okay, for the blooms in the side view, I'm picking up some pastel pink. I'm watering it down quite a bit. And just 1, 2, 3 strokes. Or 4. And while I'm at it, I'm also going to just add some random strokes in between to fill the spaces. So these could be just single petals flowing around, or this could be just very small cherry buds. So wherever you feel that there needs to be something to fill the space, you can add a few brush strokes with your pastel pink. Okay, let's do another flower from the side here. Maybe add something here. Maybe I can just hold the palette. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna hold it and put in some more quick brush strokes down by the little bird. Okay. Nina wants to know how long I've lived in Hawaii. So I came here the first time in 2015 and I was just a visitor. Very happy about getting to visit Hawaii, and I stayed here for the incredible amount of time of 6 weeks, and that was only possible because I was a freelance photographer and could pretty much choose my schedule in the year. I took some photos for a magazine over in Switzerland while I was here, and then I met my now husband, and yeah, man, that was a story, you guys. So later on we got married, and then I moved here. I moved here for good in 2017, but I was here on and off pretty much since 2015, meaning, you know, for 2 or 3 months at a time, and then going back and working my ass off, and then coming back to Hawaii to stay here for a couple months. So yeah, you can say since 2017. About 8 years at this point. All right, next step, we're gonna put in the branches, and I'm also gonna add the base layer for a little birdie here. Just realizing now how big the head is. Look at that. I have a very big-headed bird. For the branch, we want to mix up some of our pinks. So let's do the pastel pink, and we're going to add some black. And it's really up to you how dark or light you want your purple to be. So this is this almost looks like a grayish purple. Very nice. And the other one, the quinacridone magenta, gives you kind of more purplish purple. I love this color. This is such a pretty, almost like an eggplant purple. By adding more pink, you'll get a more pinkish tone, of course. If you want it more dark, you can add a bit more black. This also works really well with indigo, by the way. You can just add indigo if you want more of a purple tone. All right, and then we'll just go around and add in the branch. Make sure you don't go all the way through your flowers. So you just want to put in some branches in between your flowers. And in some spots, you can just add a little branch here and there, connecting the small blobs we made earlier. And as you can see, I'm alternating between those two purples I made. If you want a more loose style, you can also draw in the branch not in one line, but more like a dotted line, like I'm doing here. Pressing down harder and lighter with your brush to create different qualities of lines. I'm gonna add a few more lines up here to connect my buds and flowers. And as you can see here, I added another branch on top. So we have 1, 2, and 3. And let's add another one down here where the bird is sitting. I'm going back to my side view flower and I'm adding a little bit of a detail here. So this is where the petals are connected to the branch. Let me add a bit more pink. You can really play around with the color mix. So if you want more contrast, you want your branch to be darker, of course. If you want everything to kind of blend together more, you could try and make the branches more pink. And honestly, I mean, you don't have to use black in this case at all. You can just make your branches be all in this quinacridone magenta that you used for the center already. Again, I think this is really a question of taste, if you want more contrast or less. And if you want it to be more loose, then don't overwork it. Don't add too many branches and strokes. I think less is more in that case. Always happy to share my story, Nina. Thanks for asking. Aw, thank you, Mom. My mom is such a great cheerleader. You know, just mixing colors makes her happy. I mean, watching me mix colors make her happy. So sweet. Puppies! Can you be a bit more quiet? Huh? Yeah, you little gremlins. Hi, kiddo. Hi. Want to say hi? No? He just ran to me and then he ran away. Leo! Shush. Oh, great. Now I caught their attention. Now they think they're gonna go play. You guys. Huh? Do you want to go outside? Huh? You can go outside to play. No. They love being here when I do live streams. Maybe it's the fact that I'm talking, you know, they can hear my voice. But I swear, They could have been playing outside for an hour. The second I start my live stream, they're back in the house playing and being loud. Okay, next step is the little birdie. So for the little birdie, I'm going to utilize this grayish purple I mixed with the pastel pink and the black. I'm going to water it down quite a bit. And then with a few little strokes, I'm going to go over the body of the bird, a little bit of the wing. And I'm not painting in the eye area here. So most of the face will be white. I like this. You just paint around it. And then a few strokes for the tail. While the paint is still wet, I'm gonna drop in a bit of a different color here and there. You're totally free with designing your bird. You know, you can look up a reference photo if you want to paint a real bird. I actually just made this bird up. Just wanted something cute perched on my cherry blossom branch. Then with some black, I'm going in here for the chest, and then underneath the wing to add some shadow. And down here, and maybe for the tail feathers too. If you like, you can draw in the eye right away. If this is too tricky, please use a colored pencil or a fine liner. And then the same for the foot. Again, you can let everything dry and then just draw this in with a fine liner. Make sure that it's really dry though, otherwise you're gonna rip the paper or ruin your fine liner. All right, let's mix a really dark purple for the little leaves we're gonna put in next. So I'm gonna mix it with my quinacridone magenta and then adding quite a bit of black. Hi, doggy. Barb says, dogs always think when you're talking, you're only talking to them. Exactly. And honestly, don't get me wrong, I love talking to my dogs. I have very talkative dogs. They answer me, which is hilarious. I have a cat too, which does the same thing. My animals love talking, just like my husband. They have that in common. With our really dark purple, it's almost black. I'm gonna go back into our drawing and just add a few dark, small little buds like that, and a few leaves. So with a round brush, you can do the leaf either in 2 strokes. So like 1 and 2. Or you can do just 1 stroke. It depends a little bit on the shape of your brush. Not all brushes are made equal, so some will give you, or some will make it really easy for you to create shapes like that, and some are a bit trickier to use. It's all a matter of pressure. For the tip, you barely touch the paper. Then for the middle part of the leaf, you have to press down the whole belly of your brush. And to finish the leaf, you ease up again and draw the line, or finish the line, connecting it to the branch. But please feel free to just You know, you can paint the leaf like this even. You can just draw the outline, fill it out, and connect it. You don't even have to connect it. You can just go around and, you know, randomly add some loose leaves. And then with some pure quinacridone magenta, I'm going to go around and add a few details. So this is where your colored pencil could come in as well. If you don't feel like doing really fine lines with your brush today, you can just utilize your colored pencil, draw in the stemon and some little dots in your blossoms. Or you can use your brush and hold it upright a little bit so you can use the tip to make some little dots and also the lines. And again, if you have a smaller brush that works better, please use that one. But I think you can even use a bigger brush, like this is a size 6, as long as it has a good sharp point. I'm just going around all the open faced blossoms and adding pure quinacridone magenta lines and dots. You can see that the paint was still a little wet here, but that's totally fine. It'll lead to a little bit of feathering, but that's absolutely okay. Okay, Sylvie wants to know which color pencil I'm using. I know this looks like a Faber-Castell, but it's actually a Japanese one, Mitsubishi. It's the same company that also creates the Uniball jelly roll pens, for example. And this is called Light Carmine 827, but I'm afraid that outside of Japan, these are not available. If you want to use a Dürer, let me see. I know I have a similar color. Actually, it's not similar. I'm sorry. I thought the fuchsia was similar, but it's not. However, I think this one, ooh, that is very pretty. I think this would be a great color to use if you have it. That would be the Faber-Castell Albrecht Dürer Fuchsia. The one I'm using here by Mitsubishi is more red. Yeah, that's all I can find at this point. But yeah, just choose, you know, if you use a color pencil, just choose one that you like and that kind of matches the colors that you're already using. Preferably a bit darker so that the stemon stand out a little bit. And at this point, if you like, you can use your quinacridone magenta and also add a few quick outlines to some of the little buds all around. Again, this is totally optional, but it will lead to a little bit more definition for the random blobs I made here. Okay, I think this is looking okay. And then as you can see here in my original painting, I also added a few just, you know, little marks in between. Just some round circles. I think this might actually also look good if you do it in the pale pink or the purple. The more little details you add, the fuller your wreath will look. So if you want more of a skinny look like here, make sure, as I said in the beginning, to leave some of the branches here visible to not fill all the spaces. So over here I made it a little bit more thick so you can see the difference between the two approaches. So yeah, which one do you like better, you guys? Do you like it more skinny over here, or like more full and opulent? Servus, Tanya. Yeah, I was just on the phone with Miss Nice Day Tanya before the stream, and we have some exciting things happening. But we're not gonna talk about it yet. Just know that there is something coming. Okay, let's move over to the yellow. This is medium cadmium yellow, mango, Aloha Watercolors. But honestly, you can use any type of yellow. If you have a yellow that's a bit more on the warm side, I think it works especially well. I'm using very little water and a lot of pigment. If you have yellow gouache, that would work as well, because we want to basically go over the center of our cherry flowers and add just a little bit, a hint of yellow in the center of our flowers. Let me try something. I'm curious what it looks like if I just add some yellow dots here and there. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Oh, I like that. Okay. What do you guys think? Oh, I think that's lovely. Also, my stomach is grumbling so loudly. I'm wondering if you guys can hear that. It's like... Jamesy, are you making breakfast?
Yep.
Yay, I'm so lucky. Oh, I love these little yellow dots. I don't know, it just makes it more colorful, more vibrant, more happy. Okay, if you like that look, then yeah, go ahead and add some yellow dots as well. So now I'm done with my wreath. I'm gonna add some yellow to the beak of my bird. I'm starting with a triangle and then I'm finishing the beak. It's kind of like a diamond shape. Can you see that? Like this. Okay, I'm rinsing out my brush. And I want to add a few more details to my bird. It's a bit too blobby right now. So over here you can see that I added some little short tiny marks to my bird. I'm going to do the same over here on this one. I'm choosing, or I'm using the dark purple I made with the black and quinacridone magenta. And again, if you want to do this with a colored pencil here, maybe with a dark purple one, then please feel free and go ahead. Otherwise, you can do little tiny strokes, holding your brush upright and utilizing the tip of your brush. And some longer strokes for the tail. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm gonna zoom out. I like to actually physically stand up and look at my painting a little bit from a distance, just so I can see, okay, did I miss something? Is it, you know, is it balanced? So overall, I have to say, I personally prefer the more skinny look, just because I think it has more definition. So if you look over here, I love that this is standing out more here and here. I think it makes you focus more on the bird, you know, because there are so many empty spaces, 1, 2, and then this one, of course. So your eye automatically wanders and lands at the bird. And whereas here, because it's so full and there's so much going on, I kind of feel like it's a bit more or less defined. It's almost like you don't really know where to look at, because this is just as important as the bird. But you know, that's just my personal take on it. I can never stop. I can go on forever just adding some more scribbles and stuff. So I'm gonna stop, because otherwise I'm gonna overload it way too much. Okay, do you guys think I should add some lettering maybe? Do you have any ideas? What I could letter in my circle here, in my wreath? Let me know in the chat, and I could actually do it right away. Sylvie said spring. Yes, of course I could do that. That's nice and short. Any other ideas for a little quote maybe? I could always say hello spring. Aloha spring. Hello spring. Debbie wants bark bark. How about bark bark spring? So only people who were with me today in the live stream will know what it means then. I love that. Okay, let's do bark bark spring. That's hilarious. You guys are great. Okay, let's see. So spring will be the biggest word, or you know, like in size, I mean. Let's put it in diagonally. Okay, like this. So we're gonna have spring. Okay, I could do the flourish. Let's do the flourish around the little bird here. Then going out of the wreath. Flourish from the S. Here, another one. Okay. I could also do it in watercolor. Okay, what do you guys think? Should I do it black, or should I do the dark purple in watercolor? Okay. Black or dark purple watercolor with a brush? What would you like to see? Sylvie says black. Tracy says orchid. Purple. Wildflower says purple. Okay, now I have all the versions. Black. Purple. Okay, we have 2 black, 2 purple. 1 more. That'll count. LOL. No, no, no. I need a color. Mom says yellow. 1 of each color. Lisa says sure. You guys are so funny. And orchid. Okay, Heather says purple. We're gonna do purple. And then I'll do the other letters in black maybe, huh? Okay. I don't think this is enough purple, so let's mix some more with the black shark color. And Orchid quinacridone magenta. The reason why I'm switching brushes for the lettering is that this brand, Shimoni Art, has very soft bristles, which is great for florals. But for lettering, I love the Germany brushes that have a very elastic and snappy point. All right, I'm gonna start with this here and then S. Oh yeah, this looks nice in purple. So for those of you who said purple, good call. I would have probably said the same if I had done it in black or orchid. Well, you know, this is the thing, because we used all these colors in the wreath, whatever you use here, black, purple, or orchid is all gonna look good because it's in the same color palette. Okay, and then the flourish. Let me get some more water so I don't run out of paint. Take it outside here, and then we'll add another, let's see here, like this. Okay, so this is the purple spring part, and then we're gonna do bark. How about I do that in orchid? I think that might look good. Quinacridone magenta. We're gonna do small block letters. So funny. And you know, it's also funny because it has nothing to do with a bird. Very, very good. All right, here we go. Bark spring with cherry blossoms and a little birdie. All right, let me turn the camera around one more time. And tell you thank you and all of that. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream today. You can join me again next week, I believe, on the 17th. So just 1 week from today, Monday again. I think I already put the stream, you know, the preview up on my YouTube channel when you go to the live tab. As always, I would highly appreciate it if you left me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the stream and a comment down below. And of course, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. And you can also hit the notification bell so you see every new video that I make. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the stream. I hope you have fun painting it if you haven't painted along today. I hope it'll get warmer for all of you soon, that spring will come soon for all of you. Until next time, I wish you happy creating and aloha. Bye.